Hey YouTube, welcome back to Tinker with Tools. Tonight we're going to be talking about hand tools. That's right, pliers and screwdrivers on Tinker with Tools. Alright, so if you followed along with the Milwaukee pipeline events that they had over the course of the summer last year, one of the big announcements they had was they were opening a new factory in West Bend, Wisconsin that was going to be purely dedicated to hand tools, namely screwdrivers and pliers. When they initially showed these new tools, they seemed to be quite impressive and certainly a step up from the hand tools that they had been producing. And so I was eagerly anticipating them when I finally got word that the pre-sale was going on starting in April. And now we've been able to get hands-on with them and try them out. So today I simply want to talk about what it is I purchased, how it compares to the old version of the Milwaukee hand tools that they previously had out, and then also how it compares to some of the premium options, because news alert, these tools now carry some premium pricing that is certainly an increase from where Milwaukee hand tools were previously. So if you've had Milwaukee hand tools before, you'll probably recognize these types of pliers that they had out with this very familiar Milwaukee grip on them. And I actually really looked forward to buying these when I first purchased them. And ultimately when I got them home, 2 out of 3 that I purchased just didn't seem to be of the most premium quality in my opinion. The pliers are relatively stiff, and even after a break-in period, they still just don't operate like I feel like they should. This set in particular is one that has just never really loosened up. Now the needle nose pliers I got, I've actually been quite pleased with those. They actually open up pretty well. Overall though, I was a little disappointed with the new hand tools. I can say that feels like it's in the past. This is the set of lineman pliers that I picked up. It's the MT500, and straight out of the thing, you just notice a completely different feel to these pliers. One of the things Milwaukee actually touts on the packaging is that they have the smoothest open and close of any pliers on the market. Now, whether that is actually true or not, I'll leave that up to someone else to try and measure. But I can tell you that the fit and finish on the lineman pliers is pretty nice. Now, they have several different variations that are out there. This is just the standard dipped handle, and it is kind of their more basic lineman plier. But they certainly do have a couple different variations that will show on the screen that can kind of shake up what you're getting in there, so you can kind of customize them how you want. Now, like I said, I went with the dipped handle, but they do have kind of a more cushion grip handle as well, if that's the sort of thing that you're into. Start talking about some of the other premium pliers on the market. I have here a pair from Klein and a pair from Knipex, and overall, I'm going to sit there and say that they feel very similar to these pliers. It's not that necessarily any one of them is a little bit better. These Knipex, this pair I got about 1.5 years ago, has always just been incredibly smooth, and the Milwaukee is right there with it. My first impressions, I will tell you, is that with that premium price tag that you're getting, you are also getting a premium product, or at least that's the initial first impressions of it. So overall, with the lineman pliers, I would say they rate very favorably when it comes to how they compare to the other premium markets, and they certainly feel like a step up from the previous generation of Milwaukee tools. Now, when it comes to the diagonal cutters, I actually went with a smaller version than what I had previously. This, I believe, is either like an 8-inch or something like that. And like I said, this set of pliers, even though I have tried to work them in and break them in a little bit, they have just never really gotten over their initial stiffness that they had coming out of the package. And that is something that I just don't think is ever going to change with that. Overall, they do cut well, but the new Milwaukee pliers, now these ones are not quite as loose as what you're seeing with the lineman pliers, but they still do work quite well. Change the head design almost a little bit, going from, I guess, what I had grown up with more to more of this different style of cutter. Overall, they still cut very well. I do like the overall size of them. Like I said, I went with a smaller pair. But even though they are a little bit smaller, they still cut effortlessly through wire. And even if you move up to something like a full thing of Romex, it still is going through it without any issue. Although these diagonal cutters are not necessarily as smooth as what I'm seeing from some of the other opposition that I have, I've got a set of Knipex here, and these are just very nice and smooth pliers. But quality of cut and materials, I'm going to say that they are just right on par with those. All right, so then the only one that I don't have is the needle nose pliers. That's really just an oversight on my part. I should have ordered them. They're currently sitting in my cart at Ohio Power Tool. I'm just looking for some other stuff, you know, to get that free shipping. But eventually we will get those new ones and we will go ahead and try them out. If I recall from the announcement about the Made in the USA hand tools, the facility they built was going to be for these tools initially, but they do have plans for further expansion, obviously economy permitting and all those different things. But obviously, hopefully we are able to see a continued expansion to more hand tools in the future and more lines, especially if they're going to be premium filling like these early ones are. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the screwdrivers. Now, I do have the previous set of Milwaukee screwdrivers here. On the new screwdrivers, one thing that you'll instantly notice as soon as you pick them up is it is a more substantial screwdriver. And what I mean by that is the shaft just feels like it is made of better material. It is more robust. It is bigger, it feels like. They've added the little part down here where you can actually put a wrench on it to get a little more torque. It is ready for that. They added knurling on the handle of all but one of the screwdrivers. I assume that's not an oversight and it's just that particular screwdriver. It's a really long straight blade. But all of them have the knurling on the handle, which is nice in case you're needing to spin it with that. The tips appear to be of much higher quality material and have some etching on them to improve grip on there. So definitely some improvement when it comes to the screwdrivers, in my opinion. The handle did change. It went from more of a tri-lobe design where you've kind of got three predominant sides that are rounded off on the edges. There is a lot of plastic on this older handle, and then the rubber that is there, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily the grippiest stuff in the world. Now with the new one, they went more towards a rounded design with kind of grip all around, but there is still a fair amount of plastic on there. Now, early on using it, I don't feel like they're necessarily bad to grip, but the grip has definitely changed, and I think there will be some opinions about that out there. On the back of it, you still do get the markings to show what it is. They appear to be more so just printed on there, and so I do wonder how they're going to fare long term, if that is going to hold up versus kind of the markings that are there. Like I said, compared to the old screwdrivers, they do feel like an improvement. Now when it comes to how they fare against premium screwdrivers, I have pulled out some from my collection here. We do have a Wera screwdriver, we've got Klein, Weha, and then PB Swiss. Overall heft-wise, I would say they fare pretty favorably. I think they're going to be fairly similar to that of the Klein in terms of design and maybe just overall feel. There's obviously differences between the two of them, but you can see quite a bit of similarities in there. They also have the similar just kind of printing on the back. Theirs appears to be indented just a little bit, so even if it started to rub off, I think you might still be able to tell what screwdriver it is from the top. I have seen some complaints online about how there's too much plastic on the handle. I will tell you from practical use so far, they don't seem to be bad. I wonder how it'll be if they did get some sort of material or debris on it, if you would still feel the same. But overall, I'm impressed with the screwdrivers, and I think they're a step forward for Milwaukee in their ability to produce a very quality hand tool. I think screwdrivers especially, there are a lot of premium tools that are on the market, and so it's not so much that Milwaukee has vaulted to the front of the pack necessarily, is just they've gotten more competitive with those premium brands with this offering. And I think that's the main point here, is both with the pliers and the screwdrivers, Milwaukee is now competing with some of the top brands out there, where previously their hand tools weren't garbage per se. I don't want to make that impression, but they certainly were not up there with the likes of the most premium ones on the market. And now I think they can say that they do have something that's more competitive. All right, so that is going to be it for the Milwaukee Made in the USA hand tools that we picked up. If you have any questions on them, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I'll try and get them answered for you. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And if you don't mind, share the channel with a friend so we can continue to grow and bring you more great content. Thank you all, as always, for all the support. And until next time, I will catch you on Tinker with Tools.